Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jared Gray, my co-host Jordan Rains, and the Dynasty Chef Steve for the IDP 411 through expandtheboxboard.com. Happy Veterans Day and good morning. How are you guys doing?
Great, man. Living it, loving it. Had a great day of football yesterday. I mean, this is basically the exact opposite of last week's show where we only had, a handful of studs and guys to talk about IDP-wise. I mean, we had so many massive IDP games this week. It was kind of unreal. I mean, even within that first 30 minutes yesterday, I mean, so much shit was going down. I was like, damn, it's going to be a big day.
Yeah, I have this one league where you have like one deep, IDP league, and then the defenses all showed out well, obviously. So, but there was only one IDP player, and they're like, "Man, everybody scored low." I'm like, "Well, if you guys played IDP like the rest of us, then you'd have had a fun day today instead of just watching football, really." Because
so much to watch.
I mean, the defensive side just was crazy.
All out. So many sacks, so many turnovers. I mean, how many defensive touchdowns were there yesterday? I mean, there was at least 3 or 4. I mean, Marcus Peters had one, Rashaan Evans had one, Jamal Adams. I know there was at least 1 or 2 others that had them, but anyway.
There was potential for more even.
Oh, yeah. Did Marcus Peters have 2 interceptions yesterday? He was balling out. Marcus Peters.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He was balling out yesterday.
It's unreal.
Yeah, it's a crazy day. We just talking about it. We could literally go down 100 players that were relevant on today's show for fantasy, and we're not going to be able to get that many guys in. I mean, we're gonna hit the dogs, obviously, and this studs list is ridiculous. So
yeah, I picked up a random corner, and he scored me 22 points yesterday. Random rookie cornerback.
I mean, you called it though in yesterday's show that you thought Jamil Dean would do well, and sure enough, he had a good day. So it was just one of those days. I mean, like you said, last week, a lot of duds. This week, a lot of studs. So and like you said, our top scorer from last week won't even rank today.
Yeah, he would have been like at the bottom of our list. It was crazy.
Which is hilarious. It's just, I mean, that's football, right? So that's what makes it fun. Well, let's get right off the top here. Top defensive player, pretty easy, Jamal Adams.
Yeah, crazy.
8 solo tackles, an assist, 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks for 21 yards, 2 quarterback hits, a pass deflected, 2 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, and a touchdown. But his fumble recovery for a touchdown, he literally just walked up, took it from Danny Dimes, and ran to the end zone.
Yeah, just deboed him. Like, give me that ball.
Thanks.
Give me that ball. I'm going to take this to my house.
In standard scoring, he scored 34. If you played in any league where, he scored how he's supposed to be scored, he scored 60 to 80 points. That's crazy. But worth it. I mean, if you're getting 2 quarterback hits, 2 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, a touchdown, 2 tackles for loss and 2 sacks from a safety, bro.
He could have put up half those numbers, and he still would have been probably the number 1 or number 2 defensive back on the week. And he put up double that. I mean, that's absolutely monster day. Kudos to him. I mean, he's playing out of his mind.
And they were talking about trading this dude. Let's talk about that.
What team are we talking about here? What organization are we talking about?
That's true.
Here? Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Let's trade our best player away for that. I mean, look what the Dolphins did. The other guy.
The Dolphins traded Minkah Fitzpatrick. I mean, balling out every week.
These people would give away diamonds, to homeless people. Here.
Change their name to dysfunction.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Minkah Fitzpatrick though. I mean, 4 tackles, 2 pass deflections, an interception, a fumble recovered, and that touchdown he took back. I mean, that was a heads-up play because a lot of guys seemed to act like that play was dead. You saw though when he picked that ball up though, I think it was Everett or one of the Rams guys immediately tried to tackle him, and I was like, oh, he knows the play's not dead. Everybody else was kind of standing around, and that guy was like, uh-oh. and he couldn't get to him. And they didn't even make a big deal about it when I was watching it. Like, he ran it back. I was watching Red Zone, though. So they, like, went out and they came back like, oh, yeah, this play was a touchdown. I was like, that's a massive play for this game. Like, they're
huge. I mean, it was. I would say it was the turning point.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I mean, it just shows you what playmaker he is. I mean, how many games is that now that they've essentially won because of something Minkah Fitzpatrick has done? Chiefs are in the playoff hunt, or not Chiefs. Steelers are in a playoff hunt right now. Y'all don't get it twisted. These guys they're not dicking around out there. I mean, they just beat the Rams. Like, this team was in the Super Bowl last year. It's got John McVay, the Golden Boy, Todd Gurley, who, I mean, for whatever's up with Todd Gurley.
Okay, they're in the playoff hunt without Big Ben.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's because of Devin Bush, and because of Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
Well, let's not forget about the
TJ Watt, Cameron Hayward.
Well, yeah, TJ Watt
is carrying this team for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, half their scoring in the last 2 weeks have come from defensive plays.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, an incredible day for Minkah. I think that he personally is Defensive Player of the Year right now. I mean, some people might not like the sound of that, but I mean, just the way he's winning them games and keeping them in this, it's crazy.
He's definitely got to be on the list. I mean, he's good for. Like I said, he's good for a pick a week. He had an interception to finish the game yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And Jordan it's called me out on it. What is it? 3 weeks ago now that he gets a pick a week and did it again this week. He just to close it out. And it's funny. I was sitting there like, Minkah doesn't have his interception this week, and then last play of the game, here we go. Let's get a pick.
Yep.
Just crazy day, man. Just in the top 10, you got Minkah, TJ Watt, Joe Hayden.
Mm-hmm.
We're all in the top 10 for total points scored by a fantasy player.
Yeah, I was kicking myself for not playing Hayden.
Well,
but I mean,
good streamer.
Mm-hmm.
He's a streamer.
I played in a cornerback premium league too. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, let's just kind of since we're on the corners or the defensive backs, let's just read off a couple of the big names besides the president and Minkah the King. We got Buda Baker, Kingpin. He had 10 tackles, 1 quarterback hit, 2 pass defended, and a fumble recovery. I mean, he's up there with the big dogs for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these guys they don't play games.
He had 9 solos.
Yeah, and they're playmakers. I mean, each one of them had a fumble recovery yesterday. That in and of itself should tell you these guys are around the ball when disruption's happening. Joe Hayden, like you said, he had a great game, 7 tackles, 5 pass deflections, 1 interception, 2 forced fumbles. Big guy on Thursday night, everybody was blowing up about. Eric Harris, kind of quiet on the tackles, only 2, but he had 2 interceptions, should have had 4 interceptions, 3 pass deflections, and a touchdown. He had a massive game. The interceptions really help if you're in a league that scores those fairly appropriately. Marcus Peters, 6 tackles, pass deflection, interception, a touchdown. Logan Ryan, this dude, I mean, yet again, 13 tackles. Monster day for him.
Dude, it's crazy how good Logan Ryan is.
Yeah.
And he's unreal. They keep throwing at him. That's the crazy thing.
I know. He's a cheat code if you're in a cornerback league. I mean, he's far and away better than everybody else at the defensive back, cornerback.
He's one of the top scoring fantasy players in all football.
Oh, yeah. And it's just he's a sure tackler, and he's a good at pass deflections, and he always seems like he's always around the guys that are getting thrown at. So
9 solos, 4 assists, 3 quarterback hits.
Mm-hmm. And I mean that's his whole season so far. I mean, it just seems like every week he just goes out and puts up big numbers. And Tavon Wilson, we had him with a little plug and play since Tracy Walker was out. 6 total tackles, a tackle for a loss, a sack. That's good shit right there. A pass deflection and a quarterback hit. So, I mean, he got points kind of all over the place. Jesse Bates, glad to have the Cincinnati Bengals back. Bates is always kind of a staple for us. He had 8 tackles.
Bates and Williams both had good games.
And he had an interception. I saw that sideline interception he had. It was pretty nice little toe drag there.
Yeah, it was big. I have Bates in pretty much every league that I play in. So and it's funny, guys, that like, oh, we didn't have, there's rookie luck. Well, there's been a whole lot of rookie luck then the last couple of years. Let's just put that out there. So did you hear, while we're on the rookies and guys in their second year, Derwin James sounds like he's coming back after the bye week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, their bye week is week 12. Is that
Yep.
right?
So
that's going to be a little scary to put in my lineup, though, in the playoff season. Not going to lie to you.
Oh, I agree. I mean, but if he's full go, can you take him out?
That's tough. I don't have him anywhere, so I know he's on a couple of my waiver wires in some redraft leagues still, but I don't know if I'm going to go. I don't know if I'm going to go make that play or not. We'll see.
I wouldn't stream Nick Needham yesterday. I had to, and because of bye weeks and stuff like that. He had a big game. 5 tackles or 6 tackles, 5 solo. Was it 3 pass defended, quarterback hit, a pick? I mean, that's 2 weeks in a row he's had a big game. So a guy that we don't talk about ever because he doesn't play, and he's kind of I think he's in his second year now. Stephen Parker had an interception in the end zone where he literally yanks it out in the Miami game. He just yanks the ball out one-handed.
That Eric Ebron play?
Yeah.
Yep.
Was it like one of the first plays of the game, too?
Yeah, he basically caught the touchdown, and then he just, as they were rolling on the ground, he just took it away from him. And I was like, man.
That was a pretty fun game.
Yeah, that was an interesting game. I can't believe Miami's won 2 in a row now. It's got to be the first time they've won 2 in a row.
Especially when you got guys like Darius Leonard, who were second in fantasy.
Go and mess up their tank bowl now.
11 solos, 2 assists, 2 tackles for a loss, a sack, a quarterback hit, 2 pass deflections, an interception, and a forced fumble.
Yeah, and
they lost.
And the interception that he had, they called him dead at the spot, but he took it back for a touchdown.
Oh yeah, it should have been a touchdown.
Whistled it dead for whatever reason. I don't remember exactly why. They kind of explained it, but it sounded like they just wanted to screw him to me.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, like I said, craziest day of defensive fantasy football I think that I have seen overall in a long time. I mean, the interceptions were a premium. There were 13 in the top 50. Forced fumbles. This list is long.
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Chris Jones, TJ Watt,
12.
Chandler Jones. Did Trey Flowers have one yesterday too?
13. Yes. Trey Flowers did have a good day, and he had a forced fumble.
Beast mode.
14, 15. There was over 15 forced fumbles yesterday. That's just in our top 100. So,
dang. Turnover city.
But that's what you want to see. I mean, that's why you love IDP football. And you see, I saw the NFL Network posted on their NFL fantasy football. Like, they've got a thing where, legit for the guys putting his head down, like, fantasy, my team right now. I'm like, not if you're playing IDP. It's not.
No, you're like,
because if you're playing IDP, you're loving this life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, let's read off some of these defensive lineman studs that we got here. I got a handful for sure. Starting on Thursday, Melvin Ingram had a big game, 7 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 2 quarterback hits, and a pass deflection. Mm-hmm. His counterpart, Joey Bosa, had one of the worst games he's had for IDP all season, if not the worst. Rest in peace, my friend.
Farrell had a good day. Had a great game Thursday night.
Farrell had a great game for the first time all season, basically. 8 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks, 3 quarterback hits, and a pass deflection. Chris Jones came through yesterday with a big game. 7 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 2 quarterback hits, and a forced fumble. TJ Watt, 5 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, a forced fumble. Preston Smith, 6 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and 4 quarterback hits.
He's been pretty consistent this year. He's a guy that you gotta, if you can trade for, and this is your last trade deadline.
There's a lot of sacks.
He's got to be a guy you got to go after.
A lot of quarterback hits, a lot of pressures. I mean, he's always back there disrupting shit. Grady Jarrett ended up with 3 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 2.5 tackles for loss, and then led the league yesterday in quarterback hits. He had 5 quarterback hits on Drew Brees.
She was blowing him up.
Yeah, he had a great game. I did not expect him to have 2.5 sacks. Which is funny. We said, last week the leading sack guy had 1.5 last week, and I just read off 5 names that have multiple 2 sacks plus, and that's not even the whole list not even close to the whole list.
Yeah.
It's like O-lines just gave up yesterday. They was like, okay, go ahead, hit our QBs.
Like all these guys would have crushed everybody that played last week at defensive line. Chandler Jones, 5 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 2 quarterback hits, a forced fumble. Trey Flowers, 7 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 2 quarterback hits. I had some other guys on here. Who else we got?
Wow.
Aaron Donald ended up.
I think they heard about all these kids in college getting these multi-sack games, and they was like, "Well, we can't be beat. We can't be outdone."
Yeah, they had to show
We're
up.
professionals. What's going on?
Aaron Donald had 2.5 tackles for loss, 5 total tackles, 1/2 of a sack, 3 quarterback hits. At least he showed up in that.
Clay Matthews, we're talking about him being a streamer. Somebody got to pick up if you have to. Mm-hmm. He comes back after being injured with a broken jaw. Mm-hmm. Comes back and has a pretty solid game.
Weren't even sure about him, but yeah, it's surprising.
Everson Griffin, Cameron Hayward, Vic Beasley. When's the last one brought up Vic Beasley's name?
Yeah, I was gonna say that was a surprising one for him to even show up at all. I was watching Good Morning Football a little while ago before we got on, and they said they showed him sacking Drew Brees, and someone's like, Vic Beasley, where'd he come from? I was like, dude, it must be sad if you're at home, Vic Beasley watching that. It can't feel good, but I thought it was funny.
It was kind of nuts, to be honest with you. Demario Davis. I guess we're just talking defensive lineman, but it's the amount of sacks yesterday is kind of ridiculous.
That had to be close to the most. That has to be the most sacks on the season so far in a single week. We should look into that a little bit. Maybe check our Twitter feeds later this week, y'all. Hashtag IDP Army. We will try and get some info out there for you guys. But it felt like a big IDP weekend, and we're pretty sure it probably was. But we'll go back and see if we can maybe rustle up some sack numbers overall and throw that out there for you. See if what we feel is actually lining up with what reality is. But we had some big games for some linebackers too. You want to go down a couple of those, Jared?
I'm still counting sacks.
Oh, we already talked about Darius Leonard. He had a sack. He was a linebacker. Rashaan Evans, he had a crazy good game yesterday. 7 tackles, 2 tackles for loss. He had a sack. He also had a fumble recovery and a touchdown. That was a big game. That was part of the reason why the Titans beat Kansas City is because of his touchdown play was, pivotally, massively important for them. Your dude, Corey Littleton, balled out yesterday. What is it, 14 tackles overall? 1.5.
I'll put it this way. I'm over 65 tackles right now, and I stopped counting. I'm only a 56 player.
Damn, that's wild.
And I just stopped counting because I'm like, I can't just keep counting. Like we gotta finish this. Yes, Corey Littleton complete. Can you imagine we're up to 70 tackles to 56 players, and I'm like, okay, we gotta. Yeah, we're at a stopping point here.
We'll definitely find that out. That'll be interesting information to put out this week's sack numbers compared to last week's for sure. Because like I said, last week felt like a down week for IDP, and we even commented on that. And I mentioned that to some people on Twitter, and they were like, "Oh, it's pretty normal." I was like, "It doesn't feel normal." I was like, "It feels low. It feels low end to me." But
what goes down must come up.
Now after this, the law of averages. Now this week, I'm like, oh, total information overload. Corey Littleton had a forced fumble and a fumble recovery. That's your dude, Jared.
I've been high on Corey Littleton. I thought he was going to be one of the top, guys all year, and he ended up just honestly he carried me in my main IDP league. And I've had people try to trade for Corey Littleton more times than I want to talk about. I'm like, listen, I just can't let this dude go.
He got the
high for Darius Leonard's big day. I would say that he was going to be one of the top linebackers, period. So,
he has the high tackle numbers, but then he's good at getting the extra stuff. You know what I mean? The pass defended. He's one of the better coverage linebackers. The forced fumbles, the fumble recoveries. He makes plays. it's not just, you can get a guy that's just going to fill a hole, and get a few tackles here and there. I mean, those are plug and plays. You can find them, but finding a guy that can do that and some, that's where you're really going to take your game to the next level in IDP. And Corey Littleton, I mean, he's been doing this since last year, even early in the season. He had a couple of fumble recoveries earlier, so we knew he was going to be good. Demario Davis popping up. Kind of should have seen that coming, I guess. I had Von Bell ranked pretty high, but it seemed like Demario Davis was the main playmaker for the Saints yesterday. 11 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, a sack, pass deflection. He was kind of all over the place yesterday.
I will give you some props yesterday. You pretty much said what player, Tre'Davious White, was going to have a good game against Odell.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, he whooped his ass. I'm like, Odell had a few good catches, but overall he just got shut down. So
Odell Beckham is not what he was. I mean, well, maybe it's not him. Maybe it's more.
Dude, it's him. Let's talk about this. He had 5 drop passes yesterday. Drops.
I don't know. I honestly, it's sad to say. I don't even pay. Like early in the season, I was watching the Browns games. I don't even watch them anymore. They're just like, I'm like, I don't really care.
Well, I'm watching them.
I know they're a mess. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, they beat the Bills, which is kind of ridiculous. They really shouldn't have won that game.
Dude, they should have blown them out. Let's talk. The Bills played great inside the red zone.
Yeah, I don't understand what happened there.
There was a red zone stand of 9 plays.
Oh yeah, when they tried to run it in over and over and over and over and over again, and
they had 2 pass interference calls, once against Odell Beckham. I mean, they give you. I think he leads the league in penalties against the player, which I think it's 8 or 9 penalties against Odell. Players going against Odell Beckham.
I don't know. Dude, it's just nothing you want to. It's not pretty, It's not.
And I'm like, listen, why don't you just spread them out, right, and let Baker run up the middle? What happens the very first time the Bills get in the red zone? They spread everybody out. Josh Allen runs up the middle like nobody's. I mean, and I expect Josh Allen to run. So
Josh Allen's a beast. I'm just mad they lost. Like that should have been a gimme game. I don't really understand.
That defense is not easy. That defense is pretty stout. I mean, any team that's going to have Myles Garrett on it is going to be good. So Joe Sherwood's playing great.
Garrett's going to show up in our stinker section later. He didn't do shit yesterday.
He didn't do shit yesterday, but he caused some havoc on the side. Yeah.
Let's finish up with linebackers. We had Jerome Baker. He had 8 tackles, tackle for loss, a sack. We got here a forced fumble. That's a big game for him. Levante David, 8 tackles, tackle for loss. He had a forced fumble and a fumble recovery. Jordan Hicks, 9 tackles. He's still one of the leading tacklers in the league, if not the leading tackler. Tackle for loss. He had an interception, which if you watch, that was kind of a pretty cool play. Someone deflected it up in the air, and he just kind of caught it.
Mm-hmm.
Good for him. Tahir Whitehead, this is all the way back on Thursday, but he had 14 tackles, a tackle for loss. It's a good, solid game. Matt Milano.
I know somebody that has Tahir Whitehead, Darius Leonard, and Rashawn Evans this weekend.
Rashawn Evans is saving my ass in a couple of leagues.
He's had a monster. Ever since Jalen Brown got hurt, he's went to a different level. He's already having a good year. Jalen Brown gets hurt, Rashawn Evans just blows up. And he has been unstoppable ever since.
Yep. Matt Milano, once again, proving that he is the linebacker you want to own in Buffalo. 7 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, a sack, pass deflected. I know Tremaine Edmonds ended up with a big game yesterday, but I think he only had like 2 tackles. But his big game came on.
They were both tackles for loss, and one was a safety.
Yep, and then he had a sack. So he ended up with kind of a lot of cheap points kind of here, there, and everywhere. Not a great baseline day for him. It was crazy. I mean, Nick Chubb ran the ball a lot. They threw plenty. So I'm surprised he didn't have more tackles. I mean, I'm surprised and I'm not surprised. I'm shocked and I'm not shocked. So Rashawn Evans is kind of Tremaine Evans has kind of been Tremaine Edmonds. Jesus Christ. He's been kind of a disappointment. I know a lot of people draft him as a top 10 linebacker, and he has not produced as a top 10 linebacker. That's just facts. Jalen Smith had a decent game yesterday. Ended up with 13 tackles, half tackle for a loss.
Like I said, I thought he would be the guy we talk about when it's all said and done.
Andre Campbell, we got to talk about him real quick. Not a giant sack number or tackle numbers. He only had 6, but he did have a sack, which ended up helping you a lot. Tackle for loss. He came through in a big way. I told you I found him on a waiver wire the other day.
He had a few points where he should have had, a couple pass deflections. He should have had an interception.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah, sometimes the way they score these things, I remember the players you're talking about. I thought he did a little bit more, but they just didn't give it to him.
He had a lot of disruption yesterday.
Oh yeah. Deion Jones, I can't find him. I'm just scrolling way
Deion
down
Jones
this list.
was like
Nowhere.
7th on the team in tackles. I think he had 2 tackles and 2 souls and assist.
Let's put it this way: Oakland had more his high way higher on the
balled out yesterday though.
Well, I don't want to talk about he's garbage. He's not garbage, but
it's pretty bad when Leighton Vander Esch, who had 5 solos, 8 assists, a sack, or is it a tackle for loss? A tackle for loss. He's 46 on the list with that many tackles.
Yeah. Well, Roquan Smith, kind of same thing. He had 11 tackles, but that's it. Just kind of these bread and butter days, just where they're floor plays, he hit his floor, but he didn't really do much as far as getting to his ceiling. So, what are your thoughts on Blake Martinez? He only had 7 tackles yesterday. He's always kind of one of the high-level guys.
Well, I think the weather played a lot of it too. When you're not getting your footing, it was like basically a sheet of ice at the end of the game, which was really fun to watch. At the end of the game, it was a great finish.
Oh yeah, that was a beautiful game.
CMC ended up reaching for the end zone, and honestly, I think he would have scored the touchdown if they had a better view. Because on both sides, the corner or the wide receiver was looking down the line on both sides, so you couldn't see the ball.
You know what? I think it's good Christian McCaffrey didn't score. He gets a little too many fantasy points these days.
He's on the point where he has the opportunity to set the fantasy record. That's 6 more points. You know what I mean? So he's on pace, and let's put it this way: he had a below average day for him, and he scored 30 points in most leagues. So,
and that's annoying. Everybody that's got him on their team is like, I'm a fantasy football genius. And it's like, no, you had a number 1 or number 2 overall pick. Shut up.
Well, I traded for him. Yeah. I traded for him in a dynasty league.
Like last year, whenever people took David Johnson and Le'Veon Bell. I'm just waiting for the CMC year where he comes out and is like running back 18.
Yeah, he's like he lays that clunker out.
One running back again next year.
Well, he comes out and has that Joe Mixon year.
Well, Joe Mixon. Well, let's talk about that real quick. Joe Mixon's actually the last 3 games played pretty well. He scored 20 points in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, he can. He could do pretty well the rest of the year, and he'd still have a pretty season.
Oh, I agree, but that's because his team is trash.
No, yeah, absolutely. I'm still going to pick up Joe Mixon next season.
Yeah, next year he'll be a lot cheaper to draft. Well, not a lot cheaper. Second round pick. He can't fall too much lower than the second round, being who he is. You might be able to get in that Chris Carson.
You might get him in the third. Yeah,
you might get him in the high third, but I don't think many people are going to let that happen.
Right now, Aaron Jones might be the steal of the draft. I got him in the late third round.
Oh my God! Yeah,
he's the fantasy MVP. You got him so late, and he's basically putting up Christian McCaffrey numbers 80% of the time. So, that's good.
I got him in one league. And
dude, you know what's crazy is how random we've been today because it's just so many players. This is ridiculous. Are we just we're over 85 sacks? 85 over.
We haven't talked about Frank Clark had a pretty good game.
Oh yeah, I remember yesterday. I wouldn't play Frank Clark. None of us wanted to play Frank Clark.
But even if you didn't, you probably played somebody that had a better game than him.
Oh yeah. Well,
Marcus Lawrence had a good game yesterday. No sacks, but he had a lot of tackles and tackles for loss. Max Crosby, we haven't talked about him. He was kind of blowing up on Thursday night. Robert Quinn had a sack yesterday.
Benson Mayowa,
but he doesn't play enough snaps for me to feel comfortable playing him. But he is a disruptor for sure. If you're in super deep, you can play him. At
one point, he was one of the top tackles for loss and sack leaders. So he only had 3 tackles.
might get on the field more now too because Arden Key broke his foot, right? So he's out for this. Another guy that went out yesterday, Emmanuel Ogba, he tore his pec, so he's out for the rest of the season. Chiefs defensive end. So just
Benson Mayo is a guy that you definitely have to look at because with, like you said, Arden Key being out, I mean, he had 1.5 sacks, 1.5 tackles for loss. Was it 2 quarterback hits and a forced fumble? And he's a guy that I expect to kind of do that. Cleveland Farrell's going to start stepping up. Who's the other? Max Crosby had a big day. And those guys are way down the list because, I'm going to give you props right now. You told me I need to go pick up Dante Fowler in one of my leagues because I was in a bye week with Matt Ioannidis out. So I went and did it and didn't have a great day, but
yeah, he didn't have he started out a great day. He started out looking like he was going to put up like 45, 50 fantasy points. He had that touchdown, but then he really didn't do much after that.
I mean, I got 12 points out of him because of the
you got to show some respect to that Steelers offensive line, and that's kind of why I have Dante Fowler in 2 leagues, and I only started him in 1. And obviously, as soon as he had that play, I was like, shit, I made the wrong call. But it ended up being I made the right play overall. He ended up not scoring as much as whoever I played over him. But it felt early on when he had that touchdown, I was like, man, I screwed up. But that offensive line for Pittsburgh is no joke. I mean, they protected Rudolph pretty well yesterday. And, I mean, that was with Fowler coming at him, Clay Matthews coming at him, and Aaron Donald. I mean, they still had a little disruption, but they lost that game still. I mean, Steelers put up a fight against a defense everybody said was going to crush them. And, I mean, they came through the fire and the flame, and they got the W. So, kudos to them.
Yeah. It's just been fun to watch. Chris Jones had a big game. We talked about teams. First segment of the show, you said, defensive players. Jamal Adams had a touchdown. Rashaan Evans had a touchdown. Minkah Fitzpatrick had a touchdown. Eric Harris had a touchdown. Marcus Peters had a touchdown. Tyrus Bowser had a touchdown. And Dante Fowler Jr. had a touchdown. So 7 touchdowns yesterday.
Wow.
Well, 6 touchdowns yesterday, 1 Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
But 7 touchdowns is defensively is kind of ridiculous.
We still got the game tonight too.
Yep,
we still got a game tonight. Yeah, I mean, still a lot. Still a lot of defensive players that you're going to play tonight.
Let's go 49ers. We got big stuff going on in that game, and you got the Seahawks. I mean, there's big names in that too. I mean, there's a lot of Marquise Blair shares out there. There's a lot of Bobby Wagner shares out there. There's a few Jadeveon Clowney folks still floating around, I imagine.
I mean, I had, like I told you, I thought I played Taven Wilson against you in our startup league. And if not, looked on my bench, I'm like, I need to get a DB. So don't know how, especially in our league, Marquise Blair was available.
Well, we don't have very big benches in that league. I think
we don't have big benches in that league. But
it means you have to turn people over.
I mean, that game's in hand anyway. I'm kind of waxing George.
You're completely destroying me. I'm going to get my ass kicked in that league again. So my running back, Ty Johnson, and who was the other idiot? Kalen Balaj. So I mean,
my team's pretty loaded here.
I had Fournette back in there, and I had some of my other guys that are on bye week. You wouldn't have a chance. But
dude, look at my linebacking core, and I had a bad linebacking week in Joe Schobert. So
yeah, I saw that. Don't worry, I'm gonna come back. I'm in a league right now where I'm me and a guy in my dynasty, IDP dynasty. Actually, this is probably the most important matchup of the week, maybe all season. Both have, I think I have 186 points, and he's got 185 points. But I've got DeForest Buckner going into tonight, and he's got KJ Wright going into tonight.
I'm about to lose another league to the worst player in the entire league because I sat Darius Slayton.
Ooh, dude, I played against Darius Slayton yesterday, and it was not fun. I still won that matchup, but I tell you what.
And I left Pittsburgh's defense on the bench, too. I put the Saints against – I mean, the lane ain't done nothing all year.
Yeah. No,
Darius Slayton or Odell Beckham Jr.?
Honestly, I'm next week, I have that dilemma, and guess who I'm playing?
Probably.
If
you got a brain in your head, you'll play Slayton. OBJ has a touchdown this season and like 100-yard game.
I mean, how many targets did he have yesterday, though? 12? 13?
Mm-hmm.
He had 4 drops, I can tell you that.
I feel bad. I feel really – I mean, it's a joke, but it's also really sad considering the amount of talent, the amount of hype that was going into the season. I mean, they've done everything right. I mean, they have Kareem Hunt, they have Nick
feel
Chubb,
like he's,
they've got
feel like
Hyde,
he's checked out a bit.
they've got elite receivers, and they can't do anything.
They're right. He's more concerned about his watch and his cleats.
They beat the Bills. I mean, I'll give them that, but that's not even a game they really should be concerned about. I mean, I don't know. They win the games they're not supposed to win, and they lose the games they're supposed to win.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a bummer for them. I mean, whatever.
Well, I mean, they should win it. They should win all the games. They should be concerned about winning every game, but
they can't. Well, let's talk. If there's a few duds, we'll bring them up real quick.
Before we get on the duds, Dane Trevathan looks like he might be out for the year.
What happened?
Well, he went for a tackle, and I'm gonna send this photo to you guys because instantly somebody obviously sent it to me because I've been on the DT train all year. His arm is bent like this, like he was in a sling like right away.
That Kravinsky guy had a
Quiet Kowski.
Nick Kwiatkowski.
Yep. Had 9 solo tackles, an assist, a tackle for loss, a sack, quarterback hit, pass defended, and an interception yesterday in his relief.
He had a big game when he came in for Roquan that one game too.
Yep. And one of our buddies picked him up, and I'm like, come on, dude, really? Like, I need him at this point.
Kwiatkowski, I guess. I mean, if you're in a dynasty,
he's definitely something you got to stream.
Somebody go look at on your waivers this week. We usually don't talk a lot of pickup guys because usually we're in leagues that are pretty, ownership's pretty high on a lot of these guys. But when injury like this pops up, I mean, Tavon Wilson came up, he's doing good. Marquise Blair, when McDougal came up, he's doing all right. So Kwiatkowski here, he's looking like a guy that you're going to want to go pick up.
Nick Kwiatkowski from Chicago Bears. He definitely every time he's played well. So. Man, it was.
That sucks for Trevathan though. He was having a monster year.
All in this year, dude. He had a great year. So
on his way to 120 plus tackles.
Yeah, it was an ugly look. I do not know how long he's going to be out, and maybe he got lucky and sprained it. But when I show you this picture, oh my gosh, it looks like he's out for the season to me. If I just were to look at the picture, so, or if you watched it live, you'd be like, oh nope, he's done. It's considered an elbow sprain, but I think it's an elbow tear, personally.
Yeah, yikes. So, well, let's talk. There's a few duds. We won't necessarily dive super deep into them, but some big names that usually come through. And on a week where a lot of big games happen, these guys did not have much going down. Von Bell, he was my number one defensive back this week. He let me down big time. I think he only had like 4 or 5 tackles. But that's thanks to Demario Davis, putting everyone on blast. Joey Bosa had a bad game. I think he only had 2 tackles. I think he had 2 tackles for loss too, though, and a quarterback hit or 2. So, I mean, if you get points for that, that's good. But if you're playing in one of these basic-ass leagues where you just get tackles, I mean, Joey Bosa had 2 points or 3 points for you. Myles Garrett, quiet game, 2 tackles. Daniil Hunter, I don't know. He did almost nothing yesterday. He had a couple of tackles. Cameron Jordan, a couple of tackles. And Devin Bush yesterday kind of just disappeared. I mean, I think he just threw an invisibility cloak over himself and was just like standing in the middle of the field hoping no one would hit him. Because what did he end up with? 4 tackles? 5 maybe?
Disappeared, I can tell you that. So.
But on the flip side, I mean, Mark Barron, not a lot in the extras category, but 10 tackles. So, I mean, only so much you can do when your homie's doing all the, getting there just a little bit before you. So, Devin Bush, don't worry, don't panic, don't freak out. Devin White, the other Devin, also had a quiet game. I mean, these things happen from week to week. I mean, even Blake Martinez, he didn't have a great week. You're not benching any of these guys. I mean, if you're benching Joey Bosa, Myles Garrett, Devin Bush, Daniil Hunter, Cameron Jordan, Von Bell, you are an insane person. Or your team is literally, I mean, I don't know how you would ever bench
literally stacked.
I saw Demontre KZ go down with an injury. I don't know how serious it is, but he was down on the field long enough before they went to a commercial break.
Oh, dang. I missed that completely. I was not paying – that was the one game I did not pay a lot of attention to was the Saints.
That's because everybody expected the Saints to blow the Falcons out, and then it was just the opposite.
Yeah, well, I was happy. I'm not a big Saints fan. You guys know that.
6 or 7 sacks against Drew Brees.
I did not expect them to do that well, but it It was nice to see my boy Austin Hooper, get his mandatory touchdown. Dude's
He played really
end.
good yesterday. You called that one too. So
Oh man, I knew I knew Austin Hooper was going to be a good tight end 2 seasons ago.
I know, and the thing is, last year he was good too.
Mm-hmm.
Over the summer, everyone was literally. I mean, you couldn't say OJ Howard's name enough, and it was like Austin Hooper was just like he's okay.
Oh,
I'm like, Austin Hooper just had a great season. Like OJ Howard has had like a good game. Like, these advanced metrics. I'm like, I don't give a shit about some advanced metrics. I give a shit about fantasy points and what my eyes have showed me. But I mean, OJ Howard had a good game yesterday, and I fully expect the OJ Howard fan club to be in full force this week.
Yeah,
advanced metrics are back, baby.
Yeah, whatever.
But
Hooper's
also Austin Hooper. I've been trying to get him in Dynasty, and every week he just scores enough to where I'm like, it's completely useless because they're not going to give him to me.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to go for Austin Hooper and give Darren Waller away just because I know they're going to be throwing the ball for 5 weeks.
Little offensive action. Darren Waller, this is the time to maybe make a play for him in Dynasty. He's had a couple of down weeks. Problem is, he's 27. So it's hard for me to go make a big play for Darren Waller, knowing that I'm only looking at,
but he didn't play for 2 years.
I know.
He's fresh.
I know, but still, I mean, Austin Hooper's only 25, 24, 25. I'd still rather have an Austin Hooper and pay up a little bit more than a 27, 28-year-old Darren Waller. Personally, because I mean, what's Matt Ryan going to do? As he gets a little older, he's just going to keep throwing it over the middle of the field more.
That's another question. How much longer Matt Ryan got?
As long as Austin Hooper's around, Matt Ryan will be.
Or I don't know about that. I legit.
Matt Ryan's only 34. I know he looks old. There's something. His face. I mean, that dude needs to wash his face and put some some
Matty Ice age.
This has got to be the youngest.
That's what they're going to start calling him
right now, starting in the league.
Who?
Right now, look, just everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the average age of the starting quarterback in this week's game?
It's
now I'll give you some injuries, but Kyle Rudolph's not going anywhere.
No,
right?
Especially if the defense.
You got the 5 guys that were drafted last year; they're not going anywhere. Kyle Allen's not going anywhere.
Imagine if you pulled those 3 oldest starting QBs out too. How much that would change it?
Oh yeah,
I'm telling you, Phillip Rivers has probably another year left. And I think they make that quarterback class from 2 years from now is pretty solid.
Dude, I don't even think they stick with him this next season.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if I'm drafting a quarterback next year, you guys know I'm not a Tua hater, but that dude cannot throw outside the hash on the right side. Look at it.
Yeah, I've seen what you were saying.
Ridiculous. The stat numbers are like, he throws to the right side. Okay, does he throw outside the hash? Good. Now in the NFL, the hashes are much closer in. If you guys don't notice, it is much. That's why NFL college kickers look better in the pros because, the hashes are literally 10 yards in. So I'm telling you, does not throw the ball outside the hash on the right side. Does not do it. He threw 2 passes last week outside the right hash.
We were talking about a linebacker that had a good game this week in our group message. Who was that guy you sent us the info?
It was Curtis Weaver.
Curtis Weaver.
Yep, got it. One of the top in the nation.
For next year.
So guys that I'm streaming obviously for next year, and offset. I'll do a draft show. We'll do a draft show later in the season. But Chase Young's gonna be the number 1 player drafted. He might not be the number 1 player. Kenneth Murray from Oklahoma he's on the Butkus Award finalist list. He's semifinalist, but he'll be a finalist. Weaver is a guy that you definitely have to look at. I mean, this is going to be a fun linebacking group too. This is going to be a fun safety group.
Yeah.
But dude, it's how many rookies and second-year guys are starting in the NFL on the defensive side.
Oh, yeah, and having good seasons.
Yeah. Everybody's balling. I mean, it's just the thing. So
another guy, we didn't put him on our duds list, but Sam Hubbard coming through again. 2, 3 tackles. Well, I don't know what happened to this dude.
He's been up and down.
He was a tackling machine to start the season, and now he's like, I mean, I don't know.
I'm telling you, he just missed 3 or 4 tackles yesterday, and you're like, oh, that should have been solo. Oh, that should have been solo. Oh, that should have been solo. Well, it was for me because obviously I'm a huge Hubbard fan. So
I need them to draft another defensive lineman so that he can kind of get a little bit.
Now, let's be real.
Help his consistency.
Anybody going against Lamar Jackson is not going to have a great game.
True.
Proven that.
Yeah.
That dude he's a cheat code. I mean, he literally is embarrassing people, especially if you got one-on-one. Good luck.
Well, he was like 4-on-1 yesterday, running down the field, and he just
that spin move yesterday.
Looked like a washing machine.
I almost didn't believe it. I got the alert on my phone before it came up on Red Zone. It was like, well, Lamar Jackson's 7-yard touchdown run. I was like, sleeper app, what are you doing? You broken again? I was like shaking my phone. What are you doing over here? And then it pops up. And I was like, okay, he's just gonna. And then he goes to the left. I was like, he's gonna run a little bit. No, I mean he just like weaving. I mean he looked like Fast and Furious, like he break. I was like, oh my gosh, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, he balled out, dude. It was.
Dude, I can't believe it. And I mean, we know those back end tacklers ain't no fucking joke. I mean, Sean Williams and Jesse Bates, those guys don't miss a lot of shit like that.
They're a baller. You know,
he made them look like they were fucking playing pee-wee ball, and like coach was out there. I mean, it was like what? Oh my god!
Oh man!
He had like a perfect passer rating, basically. He only missed like 3 throws.
I can't even imagine their coach getting mad at him either. He's just like, "What can you do? What can I do?"
His depth of target is insane. Like he's not just like making little dump offs. These aren't Tom Brady passes. I mean, these are all deep balls. Like everything he throws is like 18 plus.
I don't know about that. He's a tight end junkie, bro.
Yeah, he is. Look at Mark Andrews
down the field.
Mark.
They're playing 3 tight end sets.
Winner. So
I'm just saying.
You realize all 3 of his tight ends were on a John Mackey award in college for top tight end in the league. Every single one of his tight ends.
That's good. Marquise Brown had a good game yesterday too. I mean, just wait till they draft another wide receiver next year, or when they get him a good running back.
I mean, they drafted 2 wide receivers this year.
Get a good running back. They got a good running back.
Wiggins playing like rotationally behind Willie Snead, isn't he?
So did you see yesterday? And it might be the first time ever. 3 Heisman Trophy winners in the backfield in one play.
Yeah, I saw that.
To run an option was awesome, dude.
That was pretty cool.
I took a picture of teams that have had 3 Heisman Trophy winners on it. The Raiders has had a combination of it like 6 times because of Brown and everybody and Marcus Allen and Bo Jackson and whatnot.
Yeah.
But to have 3 in one play in the backfield was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was cool. Yesterday was just a great day of football. I don't, as far as defensive guys goes, I mean, again, we kind of touched on a lot of guys. There were some guys who let you down. It's a lot of overwhelming information, though. I mean, we're going to have to keep sifting through it. We'll probably put some stuff on our Twitters, obviously. And this is with some of our bigger defensive line guys not even playing this week. No Ioannidis, no Jonathan Allen, no Yannick, no Calais Campbell, no Josh Allen. No Patriots defensive guys. I mean, and this week was just
well, let's just go right through the list again. Just give you guys an idea of the list.
Yeah, go for it.
So we'll go defensive line. Melvin Ingram, Chris Jones, Cleveland Farrell, TJ Watt, Preston Smith, Grady Jarrett, Chandler Jones, Trey Flowers, Aaron Donald, Dante Fowler, Vic Beasley, Cameron Hayward, Everson Griffin, Clay Matthews. Okay, linebackers. We're just cherry picking here. Darius Leonard, Rashawn Evans, Corey Littleton, Demario Davis, Nick Witkowski, Jerome Baker, Levante David, Jordan Hicks, Tahir Whitehead, Matt Milano, Mark Barron, Tremaine Edmonds, Jalen Smith, Devondre Campbell, Leighton Vander Esch, Roquan Smith. It's funny, we talk about that. 3 of those groups are on the same team. Right, we keep saying this. Like, there's groups that have great linebacking core. Jalen Smith, Leighton Vander Esch. Okay, Tremaine Edmonds, Matt Milano.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Barron, usually Devin Bush, unless he's not on this list.
Yeah. Usually. Roquan and
Smith and Kwiatkowski, usually DT, but he got hurt. Right. Jordan Hicks, Chandler Jones is somebody we didn't talk about who had a great game. So, defensive backs, this list could be crazy, actually. Jamal Adams, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Budda Baker, Joe Hayden, Eric Harris, Marcus Peters, Logan Ryan, Marcus Williams, Jesse Bates, Taven Wilson, Tre'Davious White, Taylor Rapp. Bro, honorable mentions, Frank Clark, Shaq Barrett, Marcus Golden, Marcus Golden played pretty well. Has been a good streamer the last couple of weeks. DeMarcus Lawrence. And that's just the tip of the spear.
Yeah, I mean, this is just guys that were just in the top 50 basically overall. I mean, there were so many good IDP performances this week. There's so many guys we're probably forgetting, but it was a great IDP week. If you're not playing IDP, hit us up, find hashtag.
Put it this way, and this is standard scoring. 96 players, 103 players scored over 7 points. Standard scoring. Yeah,
that's without even any not proper scoring. That's where they're trying to ruin IDP for you guys with one tackle for everything. But follow us all. The IDP Army. Shout out to you guys. We put up the shows for you guys. We do the IDP 411. That's this show. We do the IDP Hour. That's our other show. We're covering IDP in a way that a lot of people aren't. We want you guys to play IDP because it's fun. We're working on some scoring formats that we think are going to be pretty good. I mean, we are playing in a league together. We're having a lot of fun. I mean, the scores get pretty high, but they don't get completely out of control. I'm in an IDP league where people can score like 600 points a week. Nothing like that. But we did have a guy this week that came close to 300 points. I think after tonight he probably will. That's full IDP, super flex as well. So there's a lot of people playing, but it's a good time, and we're working on getting some IDP Army leagues together for next season. So keep your eyes out for that. One of us, we'll have people in there helping, run the leagues and moderators and commissioners and all that. But you guys get in on this action. We literally just created this league that we're in together 2 weeks ago on Sleeper. Like I was just like, I want to make a new league. I want to try the scoring setting out for potential next year, and we did it. And Jared's kicking my ass right now. I'm over. That's not fun. But I got Minkah Fitzpatrick.
It's all right. I got him last week. He thought he was going to beat me.
I got.
I had a bad offensive week last week. Had a good defensive week this week. So. Mm-hmm.
It's fun. I mean, it's so much fun. I got Minkah Fitzpatrick, which is always a pleasure to have him on a team.
I mean, I can trade somebody for him.
I'm good. Once Fournette comes back, I'm gonna win this thing out. But give us a follow on Twitter. Matt 50 Shades of Drunk. Jared's at Jared Gray. Steve's at The Dynasty Chef. And that pretty much it for me. This has been the IDP 411. You guys got anything else you want to drop in on these kids?
No, man, I appreciate it. Again, hashtag the IDP Army. Let's do hashtag IDP Army. Let's get it rolling. It's definitely something that's picking up quite a bit. So,
yeah, keep a lookout this week. We'll throw some more info up on our Twitter, and we'll look for you guys on next Sunday for the live cast, and we'll keep you abreast of our next show, the IDP Hour, when that comes out on Thursday. So good luck tonight if you got any San Francisco or Seahawk folks.
I know somebody has 6 players tonight on the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Brandon's wife?
Yeah. She's going to make the playoffs. I'm telling you right now, she's going to make the playoffs.
Ooh, Seahawks are killing. She probably got Metcalf, Wilson, Lockett, Arson. That's a good lineup.
All right. Well, until next time, let's go.